Um, in today's video, we are going to be discussing whether you can get like a national private security company license. So, for example, if you're licensed to operate in Arizona, what do you need in order to operate in Florida or I don't know, North Carolina or Virginia? Like, is there some type of national license? And then the other question I want to answer is, should you get into buying a security franchise, kind of like the Signal 88 business model? And I'll get to that shortly, but I'm going to spend about 10 to 12 minutes talking about this conversation with a parent regarding a possible like school attack. This will give sufficient people time to get into the live stream and listen wherever they're chiming in. Oh, there's Mike already. Didn't have to ask him twice to listen to the live stream here. He's my number one guy here. That'll give enough people time to maybe, if they have questions, to ask them or to get situated so that they can listen to the live stream. So the main live stream will not begin until we'll just say 10 minutes from now. So you guys know I'm in law enforcement, and there has been a lot of concern over school shooting incidents. There's a viral TikTok post going on where the suspect is going to grab the fire alarm, and then that's when all the bang bang is going to happen. And I'm being really selective in my words. Guys, I can't even do a poll on without that poll being suppressed because I'm using the A word. The A and the S word stands for active shooter or active attack. I can't use those words or I get suppressed on YouTube, and I can't get a fair poll sample. So if you are listening to this, please go to the community section tab of my channel and answer the poll that I have, whether you believe we should have armed security, SROs, which stands for student resource officers, or arm the teachers, arm the janitors, or just stay the way that things are, or just keep the way that things are. So going back to that parent, he's really pissed off because of all the social media posts regarding the fire alarm that's going to be pulled, and then somebody's going to come out shooting. It's something viral, at least in Southern California. I don't know what you guys are hearing, but it's kind of annoying. So this guy asked me, hey, what are you doing as a police department to protect my daughter? And the tone from this parent was really concerning. On the other hand, I think some people would view his tone as being kind of like arrogant, right? Like just somebody that you don't want to talk to. And I told him, look, man, if I got kids the same age, around the same kids aged about the same age as your children, and I would absolutely allow my kids to attend school tomorrow morning. He's like, well, what are you doing to protect my kids? You know, he was really persistent on it. And what I did to I guess resolve that problem, at the end of the day, he thanked me, was basically put myself in his shoes. And I thought of being a parent at that point in time when I was talking to him. And we clicked after 3 minutes in a positive manner. And he was really satisfied with the result. But guys, honestly, to answer that question, let's just say you got kids in the school, right? And you want to know what the police are doing to protect your kids. The answer is probably nothing. That's the honest answer. And the answer is, it's not the police duty to protect your kids. Now, it is the police duty once that call to 911 is made. Once that driving force is made, in my opinion, especially with schools, it's the police duty to handle the situation. But ultimately, it goes back to the schools, right? There's a Latin saying, it's called parentheses something in Latin. I can't pronounce it right now while I'm driving. But basically, the school district is your temporary parents for your kids. And they have a duty to protect your. That's kind of scary. I mean, I got taller age kids, not taller, but school age kids, elementary school kids age in the system. And I have to depend on the teacher and the unarmed security for protecting my kids. It is concerning, but guys, it's not the police responsibility to sit in a classroom to protect your kids. And I know it sounds harsh. I hate talking about this, but that's the plan. The plan is when you call, the police should be in a position to address the threat. And unfortunately, in my area where I work at, I feel pretty confident that the officers that we trained, are going to be able to handle the situation. I've invited other officers for other police departments in our area for free to attend the 2-day post-alert LERRT. It's a course that Texas State University designed. I invited them, and you just get crickets. So after the course, there's a bunch of parents, and I predicted this, a bunch of parents asking the police department, where is their active shooter training? And now these police departments are scrambling after the training, after I offer them training, and now they can't offer the training because you got Saturday school, school administrators not willing to come in on their day off to accommodate law enforcement to do their active shooter training. You can't do the active shooter training, like the building searches and stuff like that. You really shouldn't do that while the kids are there. And that's a topic of another story, but the issue I have is integrating a response with these children, especially the elementary school children. Law enforcement response is you could potentially create a traumatic situation for these kids. I mean, these kids, they're doing active shooter elementary school age, I don't know, maybe high school, junior high. They're going to start growing anxiety. So what I'm saying is I don't have an answer right now on those types of drills. Like, I don't know right now. I have no answer to give you on how we can maximize active shooter drills, active shooter training, while at the same time giving these kids comfort that they're going to be okay. I mean, if you have elementary school kids being part of these drills, and you have a bunch of law enforcement officers practicing with long guns, that could be a traumatic experience for kids. I'll tell you this: when I was growing up, and I know I'm gonna date myself out, but I'm an '80s kid. We didn't have no active shooter drills. We had fire drills, and I wasn't like concerned about an active shooter situation when I was going to school. We did have, well, actually Columbine was after the fact, but it's nothing we really discussed. And I was more like nervous about my grades and presenting the C's and D's that I probably got to my parents. That was my fear. It wasn't somebody coming in there shooting up the school. Now, unfortunately, these events do happen. Some of us have been casualties of these events, and it's unfortunate, but it is like a fraction of a percentage that these events can occur, especially on a national basis with schools. So before we proceed with the other part of today's discussion, let me just go through comments. Let's see who's here. Mike is here. Garland is here. Mike from the Professional Security Drill says, "Oh God, here he goes. 10 minutes." Yeah. I'm just trying to get enough people time so that they can listen to the live stream. Garland says, "I was first here." Not according to the comments. Lawson says, "What's your opinion on the pager bombs?" I haven't done my research on that, to be honest. I've heard about it. I talked about this with one of the guys last night or the night before. I don't know yet. I'm sorry. More research is needed. Garland says, "Do you think the Uvalde officers were fairly criticized or not about how they responded?" I think that they were. I'm going to agree with Mike. He says that's quite a hot button. Yeah, definitely a hot button. We talked about the Uvalde response in like maybe 6 videos. So I think, yeah, more or less. Dylan says, hello, today's my birthday. Happy birthday to Dylan. Mike says, you can freak kids out easily, especially with gear like the Scenario Trainer brand Guns Box Simulator. Yep. If you integrate niche specialized gear into the training pew, it's that easy. Garlady says, you guys in the 80s were practicing nuclear war drills from the Soviet Union. No, that was before. I'm telling you, I was born in 80, right? That was just, I don't know. I just think that was the best time to be a kid ever. Like, there's no social media. There's tons of bullying, right? The best year. You could be a kid. You can ride around on your bicycle. You didn't think, like, if you were at the edge of the curb that you're going to be molested by somebody. Like, you never thought that there would be molesters walking around. Like, it was always a possibility of, like, being kidnapped, but we didn't have the social media that gave some validation of these claims. It was just the funnest year ever. Funnest years of my life. Mike says, national basis, some of us have been through something. Route 91. Yeah, I know. Definitely a life-changing experience for many, including yourself. But again, I kind of bite my lip on this. Like, these things happen, but it's crazy because, and it's unfortunate, but when they happen to you guys, like, you're saying here, wait a minute, there's like, Sean, there's like a fraction of a percentage, but I was involved in the incident. So if you're like me, like, something like this hasn't happened to me, but I always get the worst of luck, right? All right, guys, so let's move on with our discussion. Let's first talk about national reciprocity for security companies. Oh, damn, that's hot. All right, so somebody asked me a question. One of our subscribers, a 2-year subscriber. Gosh, I think it's Moreno, his last name. I don't remember. He's been following the channel for years, and he wanted to know if there's some type of, like, national reciprocity for security companies. Like, if you are in Nevada, and you have a security company and you have a project in California or an assignment, is there some, like, reciprocity? All I can tell you is that in California, there is no reciprocity. So if you come from Nevada, depending on where you guys are at, or Florida or New York, you're flying in with a client to California, you don't have any authority. Like, nothing. What I mean by authority is you cannot carry a firearm. You cannot provide security services. If you provide security services in California without being attached to a licensed private patrol operator, that is a misdemeanor, punishable up to 1 year in county jail. And I think a significant fine, right? Just don't do that. And your insurance probably won't cover you because you worked unlicensed. Guys, it happens all the time. I can't tell you who my clients are, but I've consulted with, actually, I've had, like, lunch with some high-profile executive protection agents who protect some pretty significant people, some annoying-ass people out there. But we had our conversations, and they go all over the United States. Nobody knows that they're unlicensed, other than themselves, but they're going all over the place. And do you really think that law enforcement, like a police officer, is going to stop this celebrity and ask for the credentials for that security agent? It's not going to happen. So they do this all the time. What happens is that person, that bodyguard, execution agent, incurs liability, and then that's when you got the spotlight on that security company, and that security company could potentially face criminal charges for not being licensed. Now, again, it's most time it's just a misdemeanor. If there's some fraud involved, there's more of a penalty, but there's you can't come to California without getting some type of without getting your PPO license, your private patrol operator license. Now, what you can do if you are in Texas, you're licensed to operate as a security company there, you have a detail in California or some business. This is what you got to do. You might be able to apply as a security guard, as an EP agent, under that company that's licensed in California. So you would actually work as an employee. They would pay you. But that company in California need to have some type of business arrangement with the company in Texas. Like, hey, you know what? We'll hire your guy. He'll work under our license, under insurance, but you're going to give us a kickback. Like, I don't know, $5 per the hour or something like that. So that's how it would generally work. As for other states having reciprocity with each other, I don't know. But the worst case scenario is no. You need to get, the worst case scenario is you have to get individual licenses from each state. My friends at Gate Security, I think that they operate in Idaho, and I don't think you have to have a security company license in Idaho. And I'm sure there's other states. Maybe, is it Louisiana? I don't remember. There's another state where you don't need to have a security agency or a PPO license. Okay. Hopefully that answers your question. Don't do it. If you provide bodyguard services in Mexico, like you fly over, I got some friends that do that, or maybe you go to Saudi Arabia. Again, make sure that you're licensed in that country. If not, try to get some sponsorship from a security company, and that security company could maybe sponsor you as an employee or a contractor. But again, once you're a contractor, especially in California, you're not even able to be a contract employee for another security company. You have to be an actual employee. All employees, right? Who work for these security companies that are like night or day as independent contractors, 1099 employees, they're working unlicensed. It is a crime. It's a misdemeanor. It's punishable for up to 1 year in county jail. Are they going to prosecute you? I don't know. Probably not. But it's California. Californian prosecutors, especially in Democrat-controlled cities like Los Angeles, tend to be unfair when it comes to prosecuting different people. And without going on a political tangent, I'll stop there. All right, let me go through the comments. All right, so Mike says, I can speak to that situation. Probably going from one contract to another in another state. When I was federal, I got sent to Cali. I had to get a special exemption from BSIS that was essentially a temporary license. The security company sent me with documents. Okay, contact BSIS. It's most, and I'll have to say this, Mike, on the federal level, it's totally different because the federal government it's supposed to run sovereignly, right? The federal government can make an argument and say, hey, you know what? The guards that you're sending over, BSIS, they don't need any type of licensure. Nothing. Because it's a federal contract. We're the federal government. And you cannot push forward your state law on us. I've seen that happen on many of the federal contracts. They do what they want. So, again, that's another issue. Now, I will tell you that the individual guard might be legally responsible for not complying with the law, right? The actual security company, maybe not, but the individual security officer, probably. He says, then again, the company has operations licenses in both states, as this was FAA, one tower to help LA. Isaiah says, "What's up?" Professional Security Jones says, "I went through FLETC and all that. They almost did exactly what you said." What does that mean? Mike, I went through FLETC. They almost did exactly what you said. Like they just did whatever they wanted to, right? Shout out to Station 5. Shout out back to you, Station 5. All right, so the next topic, before I get going, is going to be... So we talked about national reciprocity. Doesn't exist. So we'll talk about purchasing a security franchise company. Is this something worth it? Is this something legal that you can do? So I know that at Signal, I think it's called Signal 88, you could purchase a franchise. And what are the fees? Probably somewhere around $100,000 to open a franchise. So I think you have to pay the fees to Signal 88, and then at the same time, you might have to pay like a monthly fee. And basically, all what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen, is you're basically buying their brand. You're buying their logos, you're buying their manuals. They probably do marketing for you. So they maybe have like a national call center where if you need security services in any state, you would call that number and they would patch you with a franchise owner. Maybe some. There might be some like customer support, some administrative support that comes with it. Honestly, I haven't heard negative things, and I haven't heard very positive things. If it was me, I would probably dump that $100,000 into something differently. Like if I had a security patrol company, I would dump that $100,000 into a security patrol car, put on all the markings and lettering. I would invest in that car, and then put away some money for that rainy day. So I am updating my book, The Private Patrol Operator, available on Amazon.com. The third edition will be out sometime in January, and my new recommendation is that you save around, I think it's $43,000 to start your company. A lot of that money is designed to serve as a cushion in case of a rainy day. So when your client doesn't pay you, you're gonna have to pay your guards, or you're gonna face federal or even state wage and hour disputes, right? That could put you out of business. You might not be able to pay your workers' comp insurance. It's going to be a bad day for you if you can't pay your employees. So I said, and pay rent, right? You can get kicked out. So that amount serves as a cushion. Now, we're assuming that you have an office in San Francisco, which the rent is a lot more. But $43,000 will be kind of a cushion for a good 3 to 4 months while you start getting more clients, and maybe that client will pay you back. I've had so many clients in the past not pay me back on time. And I pay people on payroll as soon as they're done. They get their money. I don't wait until I get paid from the client, because that's just wrong. But you should be saving for a rainy day. I think that $100,000 can go to something so much more better than paying the franchise fee. And remember, for Signal 88, you have to satisfy the shareholders. That fee is being split like with a lot of other people, like maybe 5 other people, 10 other people. A lot of people are making money, and all they're doing is just maybe offering computer support, maybe even not even computer support. Maybe they're just allowing you to use their brand. And quite honestly, that brand, to me, Signal 88, doesn't hold a lot of weight for me in California. Like if I'm going shopping at Target or Walmart or the mall, if I see a Signal 88 patrol car, I don't feel more comfortable, like safer. It's kind of like an Allied Universal car. Like I know that I'm effed, right? I'm screwed if something happens. if you have an active attacker. But especially if I see Signal 88, like I'm not going to feel more safer because Signal 88 is there. I don't know what you guys feel. I don't know. I just don't recommend you doing that. Now, is it legal? Let me think about the framework. So in California, I mean, you can't have the same security company than somebody else, right? They have to be independently ran. I think the way that they operate is, I think Signal 88 possibly has their own, I know that they have their own PPO license. I've seen it. But they probably sell their branch offices. So I'm in Imperial County. If it is headquartered in, I don't even know where they're headquartered, in Redding, California, right? And I want to open up an office in Imperial County. Well, I probably pay all the franchise fees, but most likely, in conjunction with Signal 88, I opened a branch office, which costs like $250. And you stick a branch manager in there. And if you're the owner of the company, you probably be the branch manager or assign that. That's most likely their business model. As for each individual Signal 88 having different PPO numbers, and PPO stands for Private Patrol Operator. That's a possibility, but I think the franchise owner has to work out the kinks with BSIS, because you have the same, like, there's nothing that distinguishes you from another Signal 88 company. So if you are in San Francisco and you create liability, you have the patches, the badge work of Signal 88, and the only difference is a different PPO number. What's to say that you can't blame the franchise owner in Redlands? Or, I'm sorry, the PPO holder in Redlands, right? Or somebody somewhere else. There has to be some type of distinction. So they're probably using the branch office route. I could go into more research, but I just don't think that this topic is going to interest more people, because they're going to listen to this video and say, you know what, Sean, that kind of makes sense. Like, why am I going to dump $100,000 into a franchise when I can use that for other things? So I'm not going to go too far into this, but let me know what you guys' thoughts are. Maybe you guys have more insight into Signal 88. I don't know. Maybe you guys work there. And then that's another thing. If you have like a wage and hour dispute, or a dispute with working conditions, like, do you contact the franchise owner? Do you contact headquarters? Are they totally separate? I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it. If you have poor marketing skills, let's just say you're a millionaire, right? You have $1 million right now. You don't want to spend any money on marketing. You just want to run your security company, I guess, right? But if you're like me, like, I don't have $1 million. I don't even have $10,000 in the bank. I'm not sure I even have $1,000 in the bank. I live paycheck by paycheck like you guys. I just think that money will go somewhere, can go off to better things. All right, let's go through the comments. Ryan from the University and Training Solutions channels here. Good evening, sir. Doug says $100,000 for a security franchise. That's ridiculous, right? Hey, you guys are on the wrong business. The business is to sell franchises. I mean, hey, you make $100,000, right? Just imagine, hey, you want to start a franchise? Cool. We'll give you no administrative support, but we'll give you the license to use our logos and everything else. Just give us $100,000. You just sell 10 of those and it's $1 million. Ryan says he sat down with the CEO of Signal. Really? Interesting concept model in the right market. Interesting. He says San Antonio franchise makes decent money. Hey, if you want to do a video on this, I don't know if you've done one already. I'll forward the subscriber base to your video if you want to make one. JP says $100,000 not worth it unless it comes with contracts. Yeah, that's another thing. Does it? If it comes with contracts, maybe. But I don't have $100,000. Oh, and then you could finance. You could finance the fees, like $100,000 through a third party. That's just dumb, guys. Like, if you have to borrow to start a business, you're gonna already start off negative. Like, if you owe $50,000, or I'm sorry, you owe $100,000 because you borrowed to start a business, like, you're not even worth $1. You're worth negative $100,000. Ryan says sales support is provided. Okay, interesting. NJ Gar says property is the best way to go. Like, I guess investing in property. Quality says it's not as lucrative as Chick-fil-A. Probably not. Chick-fil-A, for a franchise, it's probably going to be more than $100,000. All right, guys, I'm out. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have a great night. Take care. Be safe.